Fresh peaches and a lazy cobbler. By lazy, I mean simple, easy, and quick. It's what I'm making for dessert or breakfast if you're into that. And we're gonna make it right now. Let's go. This is honestly a really simple cobbler, and that's why it's called lazy cobbler. So to start, I've had my butter melting in the oven. So while it was just kind of heating up, I had my baking dish in there, put the butter right in it, and it's melted. This is just a way to not, this is the lazy part. You don't wanna have to, take another saucepan and heat it up, get it dirty, or put it in the microwave. This just melts it for you. So now we can, before we even make the batter, because that's hardly even a recipe, we can talk about the peaches. So I'm taking peaches, and I'm just peeling them and slicing them. Now, my mom always taught me, you can, of course, if they're not quite easy to peel, cut an X in the bottom, drop them in boiling water for a few seconds, and then they'll just kind of come right out, the peels. Or when they're super ready, mom always said when they start wrinkling, the skin just gets a little bit wrinkly around the top. Usually, watch it now, be that I'm on camera, it doesn't. Usually once they wrinkle, you can just see how that just peels that right back. That's exactly what you want. You want this just to peel right off, and then the peach is at its peak ripeness, which means it has so much sugar content and so much flavor. Now notice, I'm doing this over top of all those other peaches that I've been working on, because any of those residual juices that are in the peach that I might be, getting to come out, I want to save and I want them to be part of this. That's flavor. So you can see that I'm just slicing them into somewhat irregular sized slices. This is a recipe, what is it called? It's called lazy for a reason. So we're just gonna take out the other side of the pit, take it, make sure it's peeling. See again, do you see, that's how you know a peach is like super ripe and ready. It should just come off. Growing up, we always did this. Like grandma and I would sit at the table, mom would get the stove ready, and we would be peeling peaches and then canning them for canned peaches, which you can use canned peaches in this recipe if you want to. Don't feel like you can't. So I'm gonna finish peeling this up, then we're just gonna put it all together. So I have the peaches ready to go. I put what we need into a small bowl. So in here now I'm gonna make our quick batter, and honestly, you can see it hardly needs anything. It explains itself, and that's the best part. We're gonna start with the dry ingredients, so a little bit of flour and a little bit of sugar. Now we're not going, I know it's sugar is sugar, but the peaches are ripe in season. They have a lot of flavor. We don't wanna over sugar them. They have sweetness. We want the sugar to bring out more flavor, but not overpower. A little bit of baking powder. So that's just gonna help give it a little bit better texture. A little bit of salt, sprinkle that in. Now I know some people say, why salt? It's not savory. Baking and salt are also a good companion. So what salt does is it brings out other flavors. When you add just a little bit of salt, it actually helps bring out more peach flavor, more of everything, more of the butter flavor, and you really need that. So what we're gonna do, and the reason we use, I should say, unsalted butter in this is because we're putting the salt in, so you wanna control the amount of salt in the recipe. Now, along in this dry mixture, I like to put in some cinnamon. Not too much, but just enough that it gives it a little bit of that essence. There's something about a fresh fruit like peach with some cinnamon that just works together really well. So we're gonna mix that in, and the reason we're whisking the dry ingredients, this is gonna just make everything mix together more evenly, and that's important sometimes. So now we just have some milk. I use whole milk. Now, you've heard me say that before, but the reason is whole milk has more flavor. Fat carries flavor. And I think it's important sometimes to actually carry that flavor with us. So this is all the step of the way. If you're gonna have dessert, let's make sure it actually tastes good. Because dessert isn't an everyday occurrence necessarily for me. It's when things are delicious and ready. So I'm whisking this together until it's smooth. And you can see that's actually is like a no-brainer. So what we're gonna do now to this is set this aside, try not to get drips on the counter, which is literally impossible. And we're gonna bring this over, which is still kind of hot. And this is kind of where it gets really easy and really simple. So I'm gonna take this batter. Look what I'm doing. I'm just pouring it right into the center. So yes, there is butter. And while it's baking, that's actually gonna mix together. You don't actually have to mix any of it. That's the best part. But what you do wanna make sure you do is get all of this, I hardly even call it a batter because it's so easy and simple. See this? I wanna get all this out, make sure all of it. I don't like when people don't scrape a bowl. So since this is my little video, I can decide that I wanna scrape it really well, because I think all that goodness is what you want. So look how weird this looks. Caleb, is this a cobbler? It's lazy cobbler. So now what you wanna do is take the peaches. Now there are two ways to enjoy in-season fruit. The first and best way is just to take some and enjoy it fresh, eat it. Second way is to bake with it. So what we're gonna do is actually put these peaches on top, and this is where it looks weird, but the magic happens. Now I'd say it's somewhat even, but I'm not gonna pay too much attention. I'm gonna kind of evenly put them around. This is lazy cobbler. Let's be lazy. Let's make sure it's no work. Now, once we put these around, do you see there's a little bit, and sometimes you might have more or less, but see that juice? Yeah, we want that in there. That's flavor. So we're gonna dump any of that residual juice in there. Peaches, in season, so good. Now we're gonna pop it in the oven. While it bakes, it's gonna become a cobbler. Believe me, and it's worth it. So this has been sitting out for a few minutes, and you can see some of the peaches stay on top, some soak to the bottom. It's this like, literally, this is why it's called a lazy cobbler. It doesn't look like a normal cobbler. It's this like hybrid cake cobbler thing, and it's wonderful. It's one of those things that was made all the time growing up. My grandma made it, my mom made it. It's just good. So now what I'm gonna do is take some out of it. Now, to me, if you're gonna serve this, you serve it with ice cream. Life, people. If you follow me, you know what do I love. I love ice cream, and that to me is what's important here. But I'm afraid it will just melt and not show you what this actually is. So what this is, you can see, is you get the cobbleriness on top, and then it gets kind of soft, which is just like a cobbler should, and then you get those soft, beautiful peaches underneath. So when you get it together, it tastes like cobbler. Who would have thought? Just that hint of cinnamon makes a huge difference. It brings out more of the peach flavor, actually, and gives it like a warm spice slightly. I love when it's served warm because you get the warmth of the peach that's soft, and somehow the texture is just what you want in the summer. With a scoop of ice cream to kind of slowly melt over it. Now my grandpa, he would pour milk on this. I don't know if it's a Midwest thing, an Iowa thing, or if it's just my grandpa, but he would love, sometimes cream actually, but grandma probably wouldn't let him. She'd make him do just milk over top of it and eat it like that. I like it with ice cream, and that's what I would do. So what do I hope you do with this? I hope you don't call yourself lazy, but I hope you make this cobbler because it's that simple and it's that good. It's a great way if you happen to have some peaches that you bought at the market, don't know what to do with, to make something. You can even do another fruit too. Any stone fruit, berries work great. Whatever you're in the mood for, happen to have on hand. Share this video around because guess what? When you share these videos, yeah, it helps me, but it helps everyone see good food, homemade, is doable. If I can do it, anybody can do this, and that's the fun part. So share it around because that's the point of food, is to share it. And check my website, wiseguy.com, for this whole recipe and all my other recipes. They're all on there. Until next time, I hope you do something that's in season because we only get one of them a year.